ここは
どんな客人も歓迎いたしますよ。私はヘドン。この塔の管理人。
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast, another week of Tower of God. Today we're talking about Season 1, Episode 6 of the anime, and Season 3, Episode 60 of the manhwa. It is getting an English dub, to my surprise. I didn't think it was going to be getting it this soon, if it wasn't being simul-dubbed, right?
I definitely saw it coming, mainly because it was Crunchyroll that's doing it, and they usually do English dubs for their original productions. I just didn't think it was going to be this soon. I mean, it just came out in in April, and now we're seeing it. I think next week is the first episode of the dub. So, I mean, that is pretty quick.
That is really quick.
Two voices to highlight. I don't know that many voice actors, but the person playing Bam is one Johnny Young Bosch, which that's pretty cool. And I think you said it, Adam, in the chat, that fits Season 2 pretty good.
It definitely does.
Does that mean we're getting a second season?
I'm hoping so, man. You know, I feel like with the publicity Tower's been getting, and I haven't really checked the numbers since the second episode, but I think it's doing really well as far as its viewings. I would not be surprised if they did get a second season. I really hope they do, but that just opens up the question that, you know, we've talked about before: is are they going to stay with the same production studio? Are they going to go somewhere else? And how are they actually going to do it? Because as we all know, Season 2 is extremely long. Like it's not going to be something that can be done.
It's extremely great, you mean?
It's so good, you know. But that's like 100 episodes, maybe more. Right,
pretty
there.
Long.
You know, you can't do that in like 50 episodes or like a 26 episode.
Or
type
shoot,
deal.
you know what? They shortened a lot of the chapters to fit in an episode. For right now, what's to say like that won't happen then? Plus, like I feel like Season 2 is more I guess well written out, so it doesn't feel like it drags on more than Season 1.
I definitely feel that, and I think they can get away with putting maybe more than 6 chapters in certain episodes, only because of the fight scenes, you know. And we have like literally a whole chapter where half of it is all just battles. You know, you can fit that in a couple seconds, you know, in an episode, no problem. But there's so much more ground to cover in Season 2. You know, we get so much more on the lore of the tower. We get a lot of Bam's backstory, and we get everybody else's backstory, along with going up to so many different floors. I mean, they went up like, 50 floors, something like that, in all of Season 2?
They got up to like mid-40s in Season 2.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get a second season, for sure. Season 1 is doing really good. In my opinion, overall, without, you know, nitpicking at it, I think it's doing pretty well for new folks to come in and enjoy the series. I still just really hope all these new folks are going back to enjoy the source content, because that's really where it started. It was the bread and butter.
Yeah, exactly. And the other voice actor of note, I wouldn't say friend of the show, but we've met her. Grant's a friend, actually, as well as Kira Buckland. She is going to be Yuri, and that's a pretty good choice, man.
Dude, she's going to kill it, man. She's going to do so well. Like, when I saw that reveal, I thought about it for a second. And, you know, I really couldn't imagine anybody else doing that. She definitely can fit that role really, really well. I'm really eager to see how her voice is going to sound when that actually drops. I know I'm definitely going to check out the first episode of the dub once that is released.
Yeah, I'd be down to check just like the key episodes that'll like show off all the characters just to see how they sound. But I think other than that, that was it for just the news for Tower. And so we could just go ahead. We get right into the episode. Like I said, Season 1, Episode 6, Position Selection. So now we're getting into what we've been talking about past few episodes. Right, we're getting more into the rules, the setup of Tower that's going to be pushing us forward, and it's going to get I think it's going to get a little slow from this point forward. And I don't know about you guys, but when I watched the episode, I was like, yeah, this felt like it just kind of breezed through pretty quick. I was surprised to see the credits when they rolled in.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. I feel like the pacing It felt a little quick for me. Like it's kind of like you said, Danny. I was watching the episode, and all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, we're already done. And I went to go pause. I'm like, oh, I guess that was like 23 minutes.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good length. Honestly, I wasn't expecting much. Just a little backstory of why Endorsey called Anak imposter. I think that was more focused of why Anak is the way she is.
Mm-hmm.
In order to advance the story further along down the line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot that it was actually in season 1 where her backstory comes in, and not season 2, like I mentioned before.
Me too.
Because when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, I guess this was here. Which it definitely makes sense, because I completely forgot about, their classes that they take once they get their classes. I mean, once they get their positions. And I want to say, for the most part, this episode was close to a 1-for-1 in its whole.
I don't think so.
I mean, as far as like the action goes, but there was a lot of dialogue that I noted that I was like, okay, hold on. This should have been mentioned. And I mentioned this to you yesterday, Danny. I was like, the stuff that we've taken note of and said on the episodes, like as we started doing this, it's just now stockpiling. And I don't see where they could bring some of this information back, because now it's just kind of like, okay, maybe we're scrapping the idea, or maybe we just want to put it all together in one spot. But the more information that they just leave out, that I think is pretty important, for the direction of the characters and their development, is just getting left out. It's like, okay, well, we kind of need this, going forward. And that only makes me worry more so as we get to the rest of the series, because, I mean, we're already halfway done with season 1, and there's already been a good amount that should have been stated, like, in dialogue. Like, we still have not gotten the concept of guide, which should have, I mean, they had a good amount of chances to throw that in here, and then the concepts of Bam and Rachel being irregulars, and that other people are starting to notice that they're irregulars. It's like, okay, well, where did they come from? How did they even get here? And what is the deal with them? How are they these big players that even Lara Rose is noting, and Han Sung-gyu knows about them as well?
Yeah, but to be fair, those aren't really being brought up in the manhwa at this point either. I don't really think it's until season 2 we get even any real details about guides, right? Because that's when we get more focused with Hwa Hyun and Bam working together. And I don't remember anything close to that for season 1.
Well, there's a couple things with, whenever there's a scene with Yuri and Evan, where they're talking about how he's a guide and how he can see the different roads for them to get to where they're trying to be, to find their destination. Like in that scene in the last episode, last week, he had, there was those characters that were cut out as well.
No, they were there.
One of them was also a guide, but besides Evan. But he had said, oh, I'm trying to, in the manhwa, he says, oh, there's 5 different roads we can take to get there. And then that's where they mentioned, well, one of them has the steel eelfish, and they're having babies, and it's going to be hard to get through because they're going through that time. And then there's also, in the very beginning, they mentioned that he can see multiple ways to get to the destination.
Yeah, well, on that end, on the Yuri side, yeah, they've been cutting stuff out for there, which it doesn't make sense at the end of the day.
I don't know how they're trying to build up Yuri, but I'm not a huge fan of it, because she becomes a very big player later on. I mean, she already is a big player as it is right now, especially with the reveal of the Jihad princesses in this episode, which I think they did an okay job doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they got the general idea of what they are, as far as going back to the chapters that encompass the episode. But the one big thing that I did not like in this episode was when Anak is talking to Andrasi. In the manhwa, Anak asks her, he goes, oh, what about that girl, that's on your team? And that was entirely cut out. And then they have a little bit of dialogue. It's like, well, I don't know who she is, but I think she came from outside the tower. And then it pans over to the next scene. And again, this is me just going back to, those little details make the biggest difference for, gearing towards the end of season 1, to where the viewers start to realize that, okay, we already know that if you're in a regular, you're pretty much hot shit. But how much damage can you potentially do, and how, not, I don't want to say afraid, but how aware are other people trying to be when these irregulars step into the tower, when they're just a regular Joe Schmo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed this episode they shuffled things around, which I think it's fine because it fits more into the flow of the story, right? So we get a little bit into, like you said, the jihad princesses, like, and how all that works together. That's brought in further into earlier in the episode rather than further where it is in the manhwa. And I feel like, yeah, that fits in better. There's some stuff they left out here concerning Bam and Ho, right? The angel looking guy with the devil horn. The big setup for that with what they're gonna happen later on down the line, right? With those two characters, they didn't show the important part here, but if they bring it in next episode, so that way it could kind of fit better, then I could understand it. Them cutting it out early, I don't know, because the whole thing with Ho and Bam is it's all about the Shinsu control, and then when Lore shows up and he's just like, well, let me just show you this in the manhwa, and he's like, that's what's called talent right there, guys, and then walks away.
Exactly. I feel like, for certain things like that, I've noticed that they cut it out where it happens, but then bring it back later on. I think that might be potential where they would show that up, Danny. But again, I'm with you. That's pretty important, because that whole little comment, it really goes with what the administrator said to Bam when he made the contract. He goes, "Hey man, this isn't a contract. This is a shackle for you, essentially." Now, the other thing that I don't know if you guys caught on to this, but I didn't catch it till my second viewing of the episode. And right as they're making the contract, the teacher, Kuga, says, "Oh, you have to make a contract on every single floor."
Mm-hmm.
But in the manhwa, they say, "Oh, you have to make a contract here, and this will stay good until you get to level 40.
No, in the manhwa said the same thing, every floor.
Then I must have
the only
dyslexic and misread that.
The only difference in the manhwa was when he talks to Laura, it's like, "Oh, it seems you did the contract in your sleep," and he's like, "Oh, I did," in the anime. And then the manhwa is like, "Oh, you already made a contract." He's like, "Yeah." That's the only difference with that scene. And I think my favorite line still from both manhwa and the anime is when the administrator's talking to Bam, and he's like, "So you want to make a contract, huh? Okay, but just remember, this is not a contract. This is a shackles for you." And I was like, "Oh man, I forgot about that line."
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
me too.
I mean, it just really shows right then and there how powerful Bam really is, and he doesn't even know it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my thing was with this episode is when we see the shot of everybody learning how to use Shinsu, and Bam creates a little orb for the first time, and then we see Ho just create like he's still trying to create one, and I'm like, okay, I know what that's building up to, but I wish it was more prominent, unless they're really gonna bring it next episode, because if you remember that Bam is talking to the teacher about Shinsu, and then the teacher explains how long it took him to master it versus what Bam's doing right now. If they bring it in then there, I think that'd be a great way to set it up too.
I think it'll definitely come next episode. I mean, it's going to have to at the pace that they're going with the 6 chapters every single episode. I know that next episode is definitely going to be the Anak backstory and how that's going to play out, and then we'll go back into everybody else in their classes.
Yeah. One thing I did like about the anime is, if we remember, right, Bam in Japanese, right, they're using Yoru for his name. And we got the scene with him and Rachel before they enter the tower talking, and the reason she wants to climb, right? And then she says she wants to see the beautiful night, and she says Yoru, so that kind of adds more layers into how she thinks about Bam. And I thought that was really great.
Yep, and I think that's one thing you and I mentioned before, Danny. I was like, well, how are they going to do that? Like it makes sense, in retrospect, that they changed his name from them saying Bam to them saying Yoru, because his name actually is Night.
Mm-hmm.
But when I noticed that too, I was like, okay, cool. You guys are sticking with that because that's really important, you know. And I want to say that they showed just how much she is afraid of the night, so to speak, as well. When she
Mm-hmm.
has that little dream where she sees Bam and all his friends leaving her, going towards the light, and she's stuck in darkness.
And one last thing from the differences here is, I think it's the most important thing, is when Shibisu and Hatsu show up, right? Because they're part of their position test was to make 10 friends. In the manhwa, Bam introduces himself, and he basically explains his background before coming into the tower, and I think that's really important, right? Because he says, like, yeah, I was always alone, you know, if it wasn't just for Rachel, and then, you know, and he's like, I'm just glad I'm able to make friends now, outside of where I was from. And I feel like that's important because it adds more into why Kun cares for Bam, and then just why Bam is such a more likable character from everybody else. And they just missed that completely in the anime, and that was disappointing.
I mean that kind of scene, you know, where everyone kind of realizes, oh, he really had nothing besides Rachel. I think that's, from what I can remember, it comes up a few times, you know, in season 1. So I think them missing it this time, it's not okay, but it's all right. I don't know if you noticed this too, Danny, but when Shibisu brings out that paper with everybody's names on it, it says 25th Bam.
Oh, did it? Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I caught that and I was like, oh, okay, so we have this in here somewhere, which is fine, but I'm still just waiting for him to be like, no, my name's the 25th, you know, Bam.
Yeah, he hasn't mentioned it yet, which is... I mean, I guess at this point it's whatever if they're just not going to mention it. But other than that, yeah, it was a fine episode. Andrasi stuff was good. You know, it's so weird. It happens in both, but just the setup that they give for Rachel, it just feels so abrupt for them to be like, okay, we're gonna hit you all this about Rachel right now, while she's all alone in this room. And I was like, God, they could have paced this out better, probably.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. But I mean, once I mean, as now we're halfway through season 1 in the episodes, I'm like, okay, I guess the pacing real in season 1, since it was so long since I read it, maybe it was already like this. You know, it was just a little bit fleshed out in the webtoon. But I mean, that's because we keep reading the chapters every single time the episodes come out. I'm like, okay, I guess it really was this fast that she comes right back into the scene. And I completely forgot that they changed her name in there, Michelle Light. I was like, huh, okay, that's why that happened.
Well, it's the same in the manhwa as well.
Yeah, I just completely forgot when I was first reading it. I think at that time I was all, oh, you're changing her name? Well, this is a Korean webtoon. Maybe that's just the regular thing y'all do over here, you know?
I know. That's what I was thinking too, but like...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when they say Rachel, they don't say Rachel, they say Rahel, which was like one of the the first early translations of her name. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, there was one other thing. When she's talking to Kun about like, hey, don't tell Bam I was here. And the manhwa, she explains why she's climbing the tower versus in the anime she just really doesn't. She just talks about Bam as a character, and that's pretty much it.
I think that's why they opened it up with why she wants to climb the tower to kind of just to erase that spot entirely for something else, which is why I felt that they didn't mention that whole scene that you said, Danny, where, you know, when Bam is talking to Shibisu and Hatsu, he goes, oh, I was alone before this whole time, you know, and Rachel's like, you know, you can kind of see that Bam, you know, he's like, I don't want you to go anywhere. I just want to be with you. There's no reason for you to climb the tower. Just stay with me. You know, that'll kind of deal.
But other than all that, I like the action stuff with Andrasi and Anak. That was good fighting scenes.
Dude, I just want her to step on me, man. I just
you just wait. Just wait.
Every time she lifts her leg up.
Oh, dude, yeah. What, you wish you were that guy she kicked off, huh? To be the person.
Yeah, dude.
No, the last thing that guy would see would be her panties.
Dude,
before he fell into the abyss.
he had a good last sight, man.
Yeah, I feel like they did a decent job portraying Andrasi in this episode.
Yeah, she was good. She was cute.
Next episode's going to be a lot of fun, though. For sure.
Yeah, we're going to get more with the Anak backstory. I feel like the anime's probably going to flesh it out just a little more, just for it being an anime, which I'm okay with. And then, I don't know, I hope we get more of just the Shinsu stuff with Bam, because that's really important.
I mean, that's key at this point. Now that we finally got past the positionings, like, now this is key.
Oh, man. You know what? The most important thing we missed out, guys, for this.
What's up?
Is our boy Rack did not do the banana meme that everybody knows and loves.
Yeah. Yeah, man. When I was rereading the chapter, I was like, hold on. This is different. But then I went back to rewatch the episode afterwards. I'm like, no, they missed opportunity, man. Missed opportunity for sure. I hope they didn't exchange these chocolate bars for bananas. We need to see this banana come in at some point.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. But overall, this episode, you know, the course the anime is going through, it all fits together. So, for newcomers, I'd say it's fine overall. But just, again, hit up that manhwa, boy, because...
Just like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Newcomers, it's fine. Go back to the original content.
Well, FF7 remakes, that's a different story. But yeah, man, so the episode here ended, like, roughly chapter 33 of the manhwa, so we still have 40 chapters, so this I'd say it pretty much confirms we're ending this season with the actual season from the manhwa. And so with that, man, let's go ahead and get into the manhwa itself. Season 3, episode 60, versus Kallavan.
Dude, we called it, man. We called it. It just this whole chapter.
Yeah, dude. It was good to see more dialogue between Do-won and Cha. I was surprised they had dialogue. I was expecting maybe the next chapter for them. But still, I kind of wanted more with them because it was mainly just Do-won talking most of the time, and I was like, oh, I want Cha's other opinion in there, so that way they can have these clashing ideas. But yeah, it's just more of Do-won she's like, I'm just tired of fighting, you know, like nothing's changed.
That's what happens when you're OP. You're always fighting.
That is what happens when you're OP, man. But no, I mean, the more I see her Shinsu flower petals thing, I'm like, man, that just looks so cool. Mm-hmm. It's just, it gives me big Marluxia vibes from Kingdom Hearts, though.
Shut up, like... dude. I was just thinking about that. Get out of my head.
But no, man, I agree. I wish we got a little bit more. I don't know if that's Jihad right there, who she's talking to in her flashback. But if it's not, I've got a theory, and then if it's going to go with my theory, man, I'm telling you. I have a feeling.
No, I'm pretty sure it is, because it's the same person she brought up last time, as well as Cha. He brought up that person last time as well. And they both show Jihad, which I think would make sense. Knowing his younger character right from the virtual room back on the Hell Train, it kind of fits of him kind of setting up these pieces so that way he could have fun later down the line.
That's completely true.
Yeah.
Fucking Data
Jihad is like a dude. He's just I love and hate that guy because he's a mastermind. But I want to see what he looks like now, man. I mean, seeing the data copy, I was all, okay, dude, you look pretty cool. I'll take it.
You don't remember we saw him at the end of that data fight. Remember he shows up and stops his younger self. Yeah.
That's Jihad's nobody.
No, dude, I have a whole theory about that, but we're not going to talk about it right now.
No, I was thinking the same thing, Gerry, about data fights, and I was like, wait, what's Gerry doing right now in Kingdom Hearts?
Dude, I'm telling you, fuck Organization 13.
Look, dude, you have to defeat the nobody, the heartless, and the data copy, and then it'll become the real person.
Oh, man.
You got me fucked up. You got me fucked up. That's the acronym for the day, alright? GMFU, bro.
Hey, dude, you know what's crazy too? I'm gonna go off topic for a quick second. The Kingdom Hearts mobile game, you're all in a data world. It's not even real.
That's so good.
Okay, but
You're
going
not,
back
you're
to
not real.
this, dude, it's crazy. It blows my mind. But I do really like the Dewan and Cha scene. And then I really like the colors in this one, but I'm going to be with you on this, Danny. I'm not a fan of the attack taking up a whole panel. I want some more going on in the panel.
Yeah, I mean, after I read this chapter when it dropped for free, I was like, man, you know what? It just, I don't know. It doesn't feel the same anymore. And maybe that's because I'm thinking too much of season 2 and season 1. But yeah, just seeing these over the top flashy attacks, the Naruto effect, if you will, the DBZ effect, it's just not what I particularly like in my shonen. When it goes so over the top, and you know, at one point I get it because it was gradual, you know, between season 1 and 2. But here in season 3, we're like, oh yeah, Bam's fighting Ranker's house, so that's probably gonna spike up. So I'll give it that, you know. But still, I just think like all these giant like water attacks, Karaka's attacks, it's all so huge. I was just like, this is, I don't know, for me, it's just I'm not a big fan of that.
I'm going through it again right now, and there's a specific panel. There's a panel where Bam is doing like the spirit bomb stance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. And he's like, I can't move, and all this shit happens, but he just can't move.
I will say I do, because I mentioned this a couple episodes ago. I was waiting to see when Bam was going to start off this new technique that Hansung Yu showed him of the infinite Shinsu. And we're seeing a little bit of it here, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. So this is actually how it's used, you know, in practice.
Yeah, and yeah, it's the only thing that could hurt Karaka, or not Karaka, that could hurt Kallavan for now, until they figure out another way to do it. So, but yeah, to see it used in other attacks is fun too. And I gotta say, man, the red Thrissa on his arm when he's thrusting it at Kallavan, that shit looks fucking nice.
He did find a way to break through his defense, Kallavan's defense too. Bam actually, I think, got him with the reverse flow control. With the that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Right as he was about to punch him.
Oh, yep, that's right.
Or reverse wave, I don't fucking know what it's called.
And you know what? When I read that, I was like, "Damn, dude, how long has it been since you've used that?" Because that was something he learned in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I feel like that's one of his clutch things that he does, because it's just such a different skill that not many people actually use it, or that we've seen use it.
Also, a shout out to Kallavan for pulling the fucking the villain monologue once again in this chapter.
Oh, it's so good, so good.
Dude. It's almost scary. It's almost scaring Bam. Like, fuck, man. I'm scared. I'll fucking get scared by it. It's like, you're weak. You're too soft. You can't be unique.
See, but I feel like I feel like this whole time Kallavan doesn't know he's an irregular.
No, he does. He says it all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, you're right.
He's just taking.
You're absolutely right.
He's taking. I think he's underestimating Bam a lot. Like, too much. Bam keeps exceeding his expectations. Like how small they are, like he keeps surpassing them. How Bam keeps surpassing him. Like it seems like, because like when fucking Kallavan has a steel face, but like he was surprised when that shit like blasted through his arm, and he felt that. So it's crazy, because like when he thinks it's not gonna hurt, he's like, ouch. With the transcendental with the skill, but
yeah, it's level 3. Cool. Yeah,
it's pretty to look at. But again, taking out the whole panel. You're right.
I think I mentioned this before. I feel like every single time, well, through each encounter that Bam has with Kallavan, and then they have to end up fighting even just like a little bit, it just reminds me more of how his teacher, you know, would go and fight Kallavan, you know, for hundreds of years. I feel like I can just see that same mirror happening here because
I don't think did he go back multiple times?
yes, he did.
Oh, I don't
So
remember that.
I don't know why I keep seeing it here. Like I know Bam doesn't see him as a teacher, obviously not, you know,
Kallavan?
but
Oh, but I could
there's
see it though, dude. That's crazy.
because he can mop him, and he always says he goes, I should just destroy you, but oh, I let you attack me, huh? I guess that did actually hurt, but I'm not gonna let you do it again, you know. But he keeps saying, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you, but he never does it. He always gives him that moment of like, dude, just get away from me. Like I don't want to do this, you know. I don't want to do this to you or to Karaka.
Well, I think this time is different because like the last time they fought, the reason he didn't go and kill Bam is because he did the mission, right? He's a very on the letter soldier, right? And once he got Dewan on their side, he's like, okay, I'm done here. I don't have to deal with Bam, you know, because I don't want to get further in trouble than I need to. But here it's different now. Here he's like, no, we have to stop him, like he says in this shot before Bam pulls out this the surprise.
I feel like if I was talking to one of you two, I think one of you guys said that he pulled out like that blue demon he was talking to, that administrator power inside him.
Yeah, so I fucking called it last week, man.
Yeah, dude, that shit was crazy.
Because like so last week, right? I mentioned that. Oh yeah, I've been seeing people have been calling this blue demon a blue Thrissa. You know, and I'm like, that's pretty interesting. So that would mean administrative powers, and it would probably have the same form as the red Thrissa. And I'm like, that's probably be like a shield or something, right? A sword and shield type of deal, very standard stuff. And sure enough, it pops up as it says blue Thrissa, level 2 blue shield. Yeah. But see, the interesting thing is his horn gets solidified here on the blue one, not the red one. I find that interesting. Because the red Thrissa is also a level 2 right now.
But isn't when he uses it as like a needle, isn't that just a level 1 transformation?
Yeah, it doesn't need...
There's the shot from like a few chapters ago. Let me pull it up here. But it says level 2 transformation, and that's when it's like super long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I could have sworn it said level 1. Now that makes it really interesting. I think you just said this, Danny, but why is on level 2, and maybe I just didn't even notice it, but the horn is solidified, but whenever we've seen, or at least from what I can remember, the red one is not solidified. When he uses that.
It's weird.
Maybe it's because, I mean, the blue is like already inside of him. You know, like we said last week that he just already has administrator powers inside of him. And the red Thrissa is still getting used to, you know, him using that power versus he's had this all along.
Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, this makes sense. So the screenshot, the panel from a few weeks ago when it transformed to level 2, the red horn was solidified when he first pulled it out.
Oh, it was?
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
So I guess it just has to solidify once or something. But yeah, this is a lot to take in, I think, right now. And I was hoping for some explanation maybe from the blue demon himself at this moment when it transformed. Maybe we'll get it later down the line when they start fighting more with this shield.
And this is just speculating that it actually is the blue demon. I don't know if we don't know for
because
sure.
I don't know what else, because it says blue Thrissa, right? We identify Thrissa as a baby administrator. Well, just the souls from the floor of death, but not only does he not have full control of it, but I don't think that's enough to really create something like this.
Well, the other thing too is that the panel right before that, or a few before that, he has that little line that's drawn, and this is not the first time that we've seen that when he needs to pull power from himself. And there was a scene in season 2 where he goes back to that demon and they're having a conversation. He goes, "Well, I need more power." And he goes, "Okay, well here, I'm just gonna draw a line." You know, I can't remember the full context, but he draws a line. Then he gets like this massive power burst from that blue demon that's inside of him. So the moment that I was reading the chapter on Sunday, you know, when I saw that line, I was like, "Oh, dude, this is gonna be some of that blue stuff coming back again." And then, sure enough, the next panel over is that blue horn. I'm like, okay, cool. So now we know that I mean, it's like you said, this has to be some type of administrative power.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, man.
It's pretty. Well, everything's OP everything's OP in Tower of God, but it sounds pretty OP.
Yeah, Bam's got a lot going on here, man. He's got this big ass thorn. He's got 2 Thrissas. He's got these wings. I don't even remember where these wings pop up from.
Yo, he's what I drew in middle school, dude. I swear.
right next to Doom, right?
Yeah, man. I'm like, yeah, Doom was high school, bro.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hey, look, all I'm saying, though, is next week, I really hope we get some white stuff, because the way that it ends off with him and Kun, like, I just
Oh yeah.
want to see it, man.
Oh
I just
yeah.
want to see it so badly.
It's gonna be so good. I can't wait to see more of them, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like Kun has a plan here to draw out that sniper, and I'm betting that's so that way White could get even more powerful, and that's when he'll step in. Yeah, that's gonna be good. Oh, I just remembered to go back to the anime. Well, I guess not. Well, the parts that they covered in the anime. I forgot in the manga they showed off the 10 Great Family symbols. Forgot about that.
Oh, that would have been good to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they didn't mention the 10 Great Families in the anime. I thought that was... okay. I'm sure they're going to bring it up later, though, so I guess I'm okay with that.
I hope, because, was it Leroro? Who?
Leroro mentioned Kun's family.
Yeah.
And then we did get background about Kun's family with the flashbacks with his half-sister for a bit.
You
but I think that's been it so far.
You think he just called Kun because that's what they call him, or because that's what his family name is?
Oh, Leroro?
Yeah.
I think in the scene, because in the scene, Bam references him as Kun, so maybe that's why Leroro said, like,
okay.
Hey, I don't trust Kun. Yeah. I would bet that part. But yeah, man, other than that, this was a hype chapter, aside from all, like, the giant explosions on my end. The action stuff was great. Kallavan just proving again he is such a badass character.
Dude, his fit, man. But I'm going to say one last thing about this chapter. I always forget that Hockney is still here. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, dude,
chilling,
he's there before
he's just chilling, man. I don't know why I always think he's gone, but when I see him, I'm like, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, you know what I forget about Hockney? His first name is David. I always forget that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no, man.
He got one of the normal names, so when they got to that part in the series.
Yeah, it's more easier to read. Just like over on Lookism, right? When they changed all the names.
Oh, dude, yeah. Dude, but sometimes Lookism, those names still get me, like Ollie Wang. Come on,
oh, stop it.
A really good chapter this week.
Yeah, pretty good, man. I'm looking forward to what we're going to be seeing further down the line. I do want more Dawan and Cha, though. With Dawan, I think she's going to be doing some stuff, right? Because she stopped Kallavan's attack on Bam in this chapter, and she said, we don't have to kill him, right? Let's just stop these guys, and then we could go home. And he's like, I can't do that, lady, sorry. So I think with that, I hope that helps set up her just switching sides again. All right, man. So with that, I think it's safe to say we can wrap up this episode. So thanks for listening, guys. You can go ahead and follow us at unversedpodcast, and we're going on social media. Stay up to date when new episodes drop. And then you can email us at unversedpodcast@gmail.com. What are you guys thinking about Tower so far, man? How are you liking these changes? Because I noticed some of the fans in the community are not too happy with the anime, and they're just not going to continue moving forward, which sucks. But again, we're hoping that it's just going to pull forward. It's just going to be better later down the line. So
season 2, baby.
Dude, I'm waiting for season 2. That's it, man.
Dude, no, dude. Okay. Before we get
one more
season,
and then I'll be happy, man.
I need to see the ending animated, because when I read it the first time, my first thought was, dude, this would be great animated, because I would be so mad that it would be, I would just be filled with all this rage. I need to see that before I go into season 2 animation.
That's perfect. That's what made, dude. I think that's what made us keep reading too. Just the fact that shit happened, and we're like, oh, dude, we have to see her. Like, we have to see this shit, dude.
Exactly.
See this shit through.
And
I
wanted to reread season 1 at a certain point last year, but I was like, okay. When I knew the anime was coming out, I was like, no, because I need to see this in the way that I really wanted to. It's like I will wait patiently for the anime to come out to see that last few moments of the first season, because dude, I'm telling you, I was so mad. I threw my phone, I threw my pillow. I was,
It's like gilded bullshit. Like, it's nice to look at, but in reality, when you think about it more and
that's
more,
really
you just
what
get
I want
pissed
to
off.
know from the anime only people, and for the veterans who know what's gonna happen. Like, I want to see that reaction all over the internet. I want to know. I want to make sure I'm not the only one who had all that rage.
Validation.
Yeah, man, I really hope that it's paced and animated, and like this is going to be like the best part of the whole show. You know, like these last few episodes when they go into all this fighting, and then we get this final shot. I'm like, oh, can't wait.
I know.
Yeah, that's coming real
dude,
soon.
We're halfway
man,
there. I can't wait.
So, all right, guys, with that, it's going to go ahead and end us this week. And until next time, we'll catch you on the next episode.
I would die for my dreams, so let me drift away in peace. Another piece of me I cast into the scenery. Believe in me or don't, because I'm not what I appear to be. Self-inserted ghost, I'm floating behind deleted scenes. Another vessel walks, the host that always talks. Can't stop running my mouth, keeping it loud when I'm around town. It always brings me down now. Every day I wake up, I'm misplaced in a box. I'm lost and found now. Lyrical sleep, touch base like a fragrance out of reach. Hit that shit slow, primo, don't expect a sequel. The truth is apparent, hiding in stupid uses of power.